Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Schwigert Show. Now, today's episode, I'm going to be sharing something with you that I have already shared with you. It was years ago, and it was a terrible video. But either way, this is an exploit that I came across that will help you minimize your structure use significantly if used appropriately. Side note, this is not applicable for all builds, but it is the right tool for the right build. And I would highly suggest this only for PvE. Uh, yeah, no PvP. You'll understand why. So here we are. We have this nice slab. And let's see how many foundations we have holding it up. That's right, just one. This one pillar and that ceiling tile is holding the entire structure up. Now, how is that possible? Let me show you. So, real quick, I am going to be using two terms regularly throughout this video. The first is anchor point. This is the anchor point right here. This one pillar with this ceiling tile, and it is mandatory for this to work. This will have to be on all of your builds using this exploit, and that is the anchor point. That's what keeps your structure anchored to the ground. The other word I'll be using is infrastructure. So this right here is the infrastructure. There's 3 lanes of pillars and tiles. Now to get this exploit working, what we have to do is we need to separate the infrastructure from the anchor point. And 2 things you need to keep in mind with this. One, it can only have one connection to the anchor point, the infrastructure. So if I had a ceiling tile there, that will not work for this exploit because we have 2. So only one connection, and that's it. And the second point is that we need to separate the anchor point from the infrastructure. Now, since we only have one connection here, what we're going to do, we will consider this ceiling tile part of the anchor point. So when I say anchor point, that includes that ceiling tile. So we need to separate the tile that's connected to the anchor point first. And there you have it. After that, you can destroy everything else in whatever order you want. I'm going to go ahead and do it real quick. There you have it. So, yeah, that's the exploit. Everything works great, holds it up. Save you a lot of infrastructures on the right build. But the one thing that you do need to remember, I haven't told you yet, the one thing you do need to know is that once you do this, if you destroy any part of this build, the whole structure is going to come down. I'll show you here that in a second, but I mean any part of it. So this is best for builds that you're done, you're going to leave it alone, you're happy with it is, yeah. So let me show you what I mean though. Let's pick right here. Alright, there you go. So anything that is not supported by this one anchor point will collapse. So as you can see, all of those are within the support area of that anchor point. And this is why we keep this ceiling tile too, because if we delete that ceiling tile, it'll cause the same thing to happen. Everything will fall. Either way, you can rebuild the infrastructure if need be. Say you had a smaller build and you really wanted to change it. If you rebuilt the infrastructure, you could then modify it however you want and then destroy the infrastructure again. So let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to show you a couple practical applications for this, 2 of them, and then something that I never knew before actually, and it could be a game changer for some of you out there. Alright, now for the first application is a build like this. Fun little build over a cliffside. Oh, nice little build, nice little house. And yeah, let me show you the infrastructure and the anchor point for this one. So right there is my anchor point that I started with. I got the height I wanted, level with the ground. And then I extended off a ceiling tile. That's the anchor point ceiling tile. There's my infrastructure ceiling tile. Then I just dropped it down and stepped it out, whatever I needed to, in order to support the structure. So once I destroy all this, it will just make it look a lot better. That's one of the benefits with this one in particular. So normally what I'd do in this one, I'd put a ceiling tile there and cover up any gaps, cover up that anchor point, and then I would separate it there and take it all down. The second application is kind of what I just said. Say you build a nice house over a cliff and you want to add an extension, or an addition, I guess. And here we have this nice little walkway, supported by a ugly, very ugly infrastructure. But then you could build a little addition out here on the cliff platform or whatever you want to do. But he wants to build a nice house and have all that down there. So what we're going to do is we're going to destroy this infrastructure right now. You can see everything will be standing if done correctly. I stress that very much. Could be a little bit of trial and error in this. Definitely had a lot of trial and error. But always happy here to give you tips if you need them. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the ceiling tile that's connected to the anchor point. That's, well, behind that wall. So now that's separated. We're going to work our way down. Still standing. Alright, there you have it. And everything's cleaned up, looks nice and neat, and everything's still standing. Alright, so the last thing I want to show you, told you something new I came across, a possible game changer for some. So here I made this structure, okay, obviously, floating, quote unquote. Think of it like a floating shelf. It needs an anchor point. So we got this floating platform, minimal structure, and all of these items here take one structure, okay? We went over that in the video, What's the Count? Now what I didn't realize is that you can add these as much as you want and destroy them, and it will not affect your actual physical structure. So you could build a base, destroy all the foundations, get a lot more structures, and then finish it off with all the amenities, you know? Just to show you it works, I'm going to go ahead and destroy all of this stuff. Well, that one just picks up, but... yeah, so there you have it. That to me is just awesome. Yeah, this is what happens when you destroy the... There you go. That's where you want to leave that ceiling tile. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.